We're doing it. Okay, welcome. Oh my God, we're live. How do we do this? I forgot. It's been so long. Hey, welcome everybody. Do you want to know the exact perfect amount of fat that you should be eating to maximize your keto results? Well, this show is for you. Stick around because we're going to tell you. Also, I'm going to dispel all the most common myths out there in the keto world about fat. So,
you're not going to fat shame people, are you, Carol?
No way. That's
like
not.
You're eating the wrong fat.
Yeah, we're gonna fat shame the fat people's put in their mouth, not their body fat. That's what this.
I like that. That's a good distinction. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna fat shame the people out there telling you the wrong type of way to eat fat. How about that?
There you go. We're shaming the fat. We're
gonna get the clip, little snippet's gonna get out somewhere that says that Carol and Simon are fat shaming. So if that gets some clicks, yes, listen, because it's a different kind of fat shaming.
Yeah, well, if people feel I'm fat shaming, I can just counter with my own belly, and then you'll see, look, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know what the problem is.
You can't fat shame anything that you belong to that class. Is that the way that works?
Yeah, I'm fat enough to be able to.
Are you
have my own shame? I have my own shame that I can share with others.
Oh, I forgot to move my mic over here. Are you officially the fat shame police? No. Okay.
No, I'm just fat. I'm getting better.
Oh,
losing weight, ketogenic, baby.
Well, let's officially welcome everybody to the show. Welcome to Keto Chat Live, everybody. I am your host, Carol Freeman. I am a board-certified ketogenic nutrition specialist. Some other blah, blah, blah specialties. It's, I've got a bunch of letters I can put after my name, and I've got the 6 figures and student loans to prove it. So,
yeah. And I'm Simon Kaufman. I put on 50 pounds during COVID. And so here I am with Keto Carol to not be so fat shaming.
Stop shaming yourself. I think
I've seen that myself.
COVID. Did you ever, this is an obscure reference. I don't know, anybody listening, tell me if you know this. Anybody ever seen Romy and Michelle's high school reunion? Did you see that one?
Oh, bits and pieces. I heard it's really funny.
It is really funny. It's one of those, like, nobody thought it was going to be very good, but when you watch it, you're like, this is actually really clever. So there's a line in there where they talk about for high school reunions. Back when people went to them before there was Facebook, you'd see everybody you went to high school with, and they'd either gained or lost 40 pounds. And I feel like that's the same thing that's true of COVID, right? So people have either gained 40 pounds or they got really ripped and jacked, and they're coming out of this better than before. So,
well, I was on keto for 6 months and I lost 30 pounds without even exercising. But I told myself at the beginning I was going to do it for 6 months. That was that was what I said. I'm going to do it for 6 months. Well, I did it for 6 months. And then I stopped right before COVID began and gained all the weight back, Carol.
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, we'll be talking about that in future episodes for sure, because along with my nutrition degrees, I've got a master's degree in psychology, and I've studied all of that. More episodes to come. Today's we're going to talk all about the fat. I wish we could cover everything in one 30-minute show or 60 minutes, but today we'll talk about fat, but in upcoming shows are totally going to dive into the psychology of why do we gain the weight back? Like, our brain actually works against us. It wants to be fat. Your brain wants you to
on my ass for 6 months, a year. That's why.
Well, it's two things, really. It's our brain and our body wants to regain the weight. It wants to be fat. And also the food environment that we live in. Like, these foods are actually engineered. There are food scientists that engineer the foods for us to crave them, for us to overeat them, to be obsessed with them, to be able to want to keep eating them, and then all the advertising goes against that. So that's future shows. We'll dive all into that. It's not hopeless though, because I've got a lot of strategies I help my clients with to overcome that. But
all right, well, good.
It's not your fault, Simon. That's what I'm gonna say. Oh, you poor thing. It's not your fault. But when you know better, then you have to do better.
That's good. I can blame others. I do anyways, but this, at least now I know I can.
Perfect.
So, quick medical disclaimer, everybody. This show is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. It's not medical advice, nor intended to diagnose, treat, cure any condition. If you have any medical condition, illness, disease, or are taking any medications, please talk to your doctor or what have you. And for questions or concerns related to any medical conditions you have, please contact your medical professional.
There we go. We're covered now. Hopefully.
Or ask your uncle.
Ask your uncle. I think your uncle specifically probably knows a lot, right?
Yeah, and if you don't ask, he'll probably tell you. You're looking pretty horrible.
If you don't have a medical professional, ask Simon's uncle.
Yeah. That's my uncle.
Hey, those of you watching, listening, how many grams of fat today are you doing? Not today, in general, like your keto approach. Are you doing fat grams? Are you doing fat percentages? So just tell us, I don't have a prize, but if you comment, then I don't know, what would we do? What?
Well, you want to give him something?
I don't know.
How about you just give him a gram, like cocaine or something?
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm very well versed in grams. I'm not so well versed in fat grams. Gosh, it's so hard. I never really track that stuff. I just eat it.
The trick is the way that I teach my clients, it's not about grams or about percentages. So it's kind of a trick question. I want people, because most people are doing it the grams or the fat way, the percentage way. And we're going to talk all about like why that's actually not the way to go, why it doesn't matter and why it's confusing. So,
all right.
But first, should we do a little personal check-in? You said you're back on the keto now.
Okay. Yeah, I had a real realization, a real chance to look in the mirror. I don't know if people know this, but unfortunately, my father passed away about 2 weeks ago. And up until that point, I started working out again. I was eating good again. Everything was going well. And then my dad dies. Right after the funeral, people start showing up with cakes, brownies, muffins, like here, like giving all these food and donuts and bagels. And I wasn't yet in the rhythm enough to turn it down. So once I get in the flow of a diet workout program, I can turn that stuff down, no problem. Okay. Cause I'm in the flow. But in the first few weeks, it's really hard. And really for me, health and, my diet starts in the grocery store. And so I totally wet the bed and just ate like a pig. And, I was grieving. There was a lot going on and what have you. So, but I was really beautiful because I had a chance to see the contrast of eating clean for a little while and then not eating clean. And then there was one day where I was eating super clean. I did like an intermittent fast and then I ate really healthy. And then I ate a couple slices of pizza and right away I felt really sick. And even though that sucked to have to go through, it was really beautiful reflection for me because I was able to get that contrast. I'm like, oh yeah, you feel way better when you're just eating high fat, low carb type of stuff, meats, salads, that kind of stuff. And it was just a really good chance. So now I'm back in effect. I'm ready to rock. I'm ketogenic. Today's day 2 because we just came out of the mourning period from Judaism that you go through a 7-day mourning period. And I feel like I have the keto flu, Carol. I'm a keto floozy.
Well, first of all, my condolences for your loss, your family's loss.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here and being so open about it. I told you I learned about the 7-day mourning period Shiva from watching Weeds.
Yeah, that's where most rabbis learn about Judaism.
I got Judaism woke by watching Weeds. I realized that was what was going to go on. There are services actually out there that send gifts to people in Shiva. And I was really excited because I was going to send you a keto-friendly deli platter of, it was going to come with meats and mustards and things like that and kosher.
You still can.
Well, I couldn't though. So I contacted this company and I prepaid and I'm going to send this keto gift to your family. And the guy called me and said, unfortunately, because Passover was coming, there was no location in Seattle that would fulfill this order. And I'm like, I don't understand why they can't take some of the Easter meat and just send that to you.
Yeah, cross-cultural meat sending. It's important.
I was like, I messaged you and you're like, what'd you say about like why I couldn't get, do you remember? Or you said it's a longstanding tradition of making things extra complicated. So
yes, definitely. It's the tradition of being complicated. No, but every place had already turned over their kitchen for Passover.
Yeah. Well,
Long
but
story.
why couldn't I send you Passover foods? Or are there no meat there's meat at Passover, right?
It's probably the mustards, not the meat. The problem was probably the mustards and like the different things. Yeah.
Oh, because it can't be anything fermented or leavened,
No,
right?
it just has to do with leavened bread and unleavened bread.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's what I think it has to do with. And yeah, they were out to get you, Carol.
Yeah, but he was perfectly happy to let me send you some more carby bakery donuts, bagels, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I think they probably have enough. I don't know that I need to send any more of that. So
yeah, hey, Keto Carol sent us carbs. That's not a good look.
I was like, I care about you guys, but I just had my reputation was on the line. So
exactly. So you don't care that much. You care more about yourself and your own reputation. That's good to know. Okay.
If that's your interpretation, it's out there for the world to hear now. So yeah.
Oh, all right. Here we are.
Well, yeah, and personal note for me, because this is about me, very insignificant compared to what you're going through, but I'm somebody actually who has struggled with high insulin. So for most people, going keto brings your insulin down to a low normal level. And that's one of the things that we're looking at. So there's a book back on my shelf here, one of the blue ones, I'm backwards, so I can't point at it, called Why We Get Sick by Dr. Ben Bickman. High insulin, chronic high insulin is thought to be one of the underlying drivers of all the chronic illnesses and diseases that we're suffering from. So even after being keto, probably last time I checked my insulin was about 3 years ago, even after losing 60 pounds and my insulin was still too high. And so it also goes back to some of us are actually born with their pancreas making more insulin than the average person. That has to do with, so in utero, if our mom's blood sugar is too high throughout her pregnancy, our pancreas will form with more beta cells, and beta cells are what make insulin. So my family history is diabetes and dementia. And so likely I was born with my pancreas making too much insulin, which also predisposes me to gain weight easily, but also it's like the beginning stage of headed towards diabetes. So it's a wake up call for me that I already knew this, but I have to be extra careful, like, because my pancreas is already making too high of insulin. So that's
what are the symptoms?
There aren't any. Well, there aren't any symptoms. So when so that's why you have to check it. So I sent off for blood tests because I thought, okay, so I'm at a place now where I want to take things to the next level. And so I did recently get my insulin again, and it was 12 and a half, which is way too high. 5 or less is good, and 3 or less is ideal. So what I'm going to do, or what I'm in the midst of, is I'm going to do a really intensive keto protocol for a month, retest, and see if that can bring it down. And then if that doesn't, my next stage is going to be to add some weight training, because that also can help with insulin resistance. So I'm doing this 2-stage experiment personally right now. So,
well, I've never really had my insulin too high, but I've definitely been too high.
See, yeah, same thing. One is going to affect chronic disease. The other one, is just the chronic. Look how
that's good. That's good. One. I like that. That was a good one.
Oh man, I should do jokes or something sometime. All right, there's our personal check-in. So, all right. Hey, who's watching us here? Give us some comments here, and
if you're out there,
we'll give you a gram. So, all right. You want to talk about fat? I know next week we're going to talk all about salt, which is probably where you're at right now. But we're going to talk about fat first today.
Okay. Do it.
This is our fat shaming portion of this. We lost all of our viewers because we said we were going to do fat shaming today. Well, it's a different kind of fat shaming.
Well, I used to own a Fat Boys record as a kid, so that's good.
Is that a rap group or?
You don't remember the Fat Boys?
I remember. Is it Fat Boy Slim or something? Or who
no. This is like 1985. The Fat Boys.
Fat no, that was
Boys.
That was like George Michael time for me, and Michael Jackson, and that was Fat Boys.
The Fat Boys?
Were you like 9
group of really obese people in the 80s called the Fat Boys?
You thinking of Run DMC?
No, the Fat Boys.
Were they a local Seattle band?
No. They were out of New York. They were a real rap group.
Okay. I still don't believe you, but okay.
You don't believe me? Google the Fat Boys.
Okay.
It'll be a cultural experience. It'll change your life.
It was pre-PH, right? So it was FAT. Did they spell it with a Z? Boys?
No, I think it was FAT.
Did you have that on like 8-track cassette?
They made a song Wipeout, which was a remix of the Beach Boys song.
Okay. I think I missed out those years.
I feel like you did miss out. I thought everybody knew the Fat Boys.
I don't know. Let us know if you know the Fat Boys. All right, we're gonna have to find that album cover too. That'll be the cover episode for this. All right, the Fat Boys, rappers, and the Fat Girls, and everyone in between and outside those parameters. This is for you. So let's talk about, easy rules. So this is a series. We're doing 10 of these in a row before we go off into other topics, but we're giving you the 10 rules to follow to get started with keto for the quickest results, the easiest way to get started. So this is rule number 3 out of the 10 that I have my clients start with. So first of all, I'm going to give you 5 of the top fat myths. This is the fat shaming part of this, is that you're doing fat wrong if you're doing any of these things. Okay. So, should I say one and then, or should I tease all of them and then go into details? How should I do this?
Well, normally I like it when you tease me, but no, you should go one at a, just go through it.
There are 5. Okay. So the tease will be, you have to wait to know what the other 4 are as I go through each one.
Little tease.
Let's see. So here's one of the one top myth is that you need to eat a certain percentage of your calories from fat to be on a keto diet. Did you believe that one, Simon?
No comment, Senator.
Oh, I've never been a senator. I've never been called a senator either.
I don't recall senator.
Is that a compliment or an insult to be called a senator?
No, just, whenever someone's on trial from the Senate, their answer is like, I don't recall, Senator.
Oh, right.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
It's
good.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. No, I don't know.
Okay. Percentage of calories from fat.
I have heard that.
Okay. Well, and most people who are trying to start a keto diet will go out and find some keto macro calculator, and there's 100 of them out there probably or more. And each one of them, you put your stuff in there, and then they all spit out different results. And they all tell you eat this percentage from carbs, this percentage from protein, and this percentage from fat. And most of them are going to tell you you need between 60 to 90% fat to be on a keto diet. Guess what? It's 100% wrong. You need 0% fat. You can either have between 0 and 100% fat to be on a keto diet.
You just need to keep your carbs low?
Exactly.
Aren't you getting your fuel from fat?
Yes. So there's nothing about the amount of fat that we eat that makes ketones. And let me just clarify a little bit too, because where the confusion comes in is we get the basics of a keto diet from treating little kids with epilepsy. And I've talked about this in past episodes already, but that the basis of a keto diet is in treating epilepsy. Now, in little kids, we don't want them to lose weight. So what we're talking about is a weight loss sustainable keto diet here. We're not talking about medical therapeutic ketogenic diet. So there's a difference there. And so for little kids with epilepsy, we want them to eat enough calories. They need to eat enough food so that they continue to grow. We don't want them losing weight. So there's the first mistake, is that people are taking what's a therapeutic keto diet for little kids to gain weight on and applying that to a keto diet for weight loss. So they are different. Now, for people that are losing weight, so we can make ketones when we keep carbs low enough, and we can make those ketones from fat. We make them from burning fat, and that fat can either come from the fat in our body that we're burning, or it can come from the fat that we're eating. And so for little kids, because we don't want them to burn up all their body fat, that fat, the ketones have to come from fat that they're consuming. So little kids on an epileptic diet or medical therapeutic epileptic diet is going to need to be 80 or 90% fat. So there's enough fat to burn to make ketones. But for people that are trying to lose their body fat, the more fat that they consume in their mouth, the less that's going to be coming off of their body. Okay. So there's also another myth out there that goes along with this, that the only thing that has to do with us losing weight is getting insulin low. But guess what? My insulin is too high and I've lost 60 pounds on keto. So it's not the truth. The thing is that we can eat fat. Fat can get into our fat cells without any insulin at all. There's other transporters that let the fat in. So consuming too much fat is one of the biggest myths and also obstacles that people have on a keto diet. So basically my 5 myths all fall in that category of people trying to think they need to eat a certain amount of fat, and then all the things that they do in order to try to get that much fat in. So ask me a question so I know if it's clear, or is it mud still? Is it fatty muddiness?
No, it makes sense. You're saying you don't necessarily produce the ketones from the fat that you eat. You
will, but if you're producing ketones from the fat you're eating, your body won't be burning its own fat then. It won't be using up that. So it can only burn so much fat, right? The more fat you eat doesn't mean you just burn even more.
Okay.
You only need so much energy a day, right?
Sure.
So if you overconsume energy, it doesn't make you like run around like crazy and burn it all up, kind of like a hamster or something. But so anything extra that you don't burn up, your body is going to actually store it. So percentages don't matter on a keto diet at all. For any of these macros, carbs, protein, or fats, the percentage does not matter at all. And that's what all the keto calculators out there. So how many of you watching, listening, have tried those macro calculators? You're confused. Like, why did every one of them have a different percentage? Why are there all these different things? It's because they're telling you something that actually has nothing to do with your success.
All right.
You could eat 0 of everything. 0% carbs, 0% fat, 0% protein. It's called fasting. You could eat that and you're going to be in ketosis. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Number 2 myth. I mean, basically everything I've said right now is going to explain why all these are myths out there now. But the other myth that's out there is you need to eat fat to lose fat, right? People think oh, I probably wasn't losing weight because I didn't eat enough fat. That's a myth. Also, another one, is that you need to get your fat up or get your fat in. These are phrases that you'll see. I hear this talking with people before they come on to work with me all the time, is like, I'm having trouble getting my fat in. I need some more ideas of getting my fat up. I need to get more fat.
I've had trouble getting my fat into a outfit, but I've never...
Yes, I think a lot of these ladies are in the same boat as well. So 0 need to worry about trying to get fat in, fat up. The other one that they try to do as well is that you'll find all these recipes out there for these fat bombs, which are basically like dessert bonbons that are nearly 100% fat. So this has created this myth, right? So people think they need to get tons of fat. They need to eat lots of fat. And in order to do that, well, we got to make these dessert treat things that are 100% fat so we can get all of our fat in. I've had people then that they've got they're crazy making meal plans where they get to the end of the day and they're like, well, I'm only at 60% fat. So to get my percentage up, I got to eat some fat bombs now. I better just eat some butter. This falls into where there's a lot of skeptics out there, the keto diet, because they think this is what people are trying to do all the time, but it's only because they're trying to do it the wrong way.
It sounds delicious, though. I've never really had one.
They are delicious. They're made from butter or bacon, some sweetness in there, and coconut oil. All of those are common recipes for those too, or some peanut butter or chocolate. They are really delicious. Carol. They are really delicious, but they're a combination that makes us just overconsume calories. So here's a common. Most of the people out there that are eating fat bombs are also frustrated because why isn't keto working for me? Why am I not losing weight? The final one of my myths here is that you need to drink high fat coffee. Some people will call this bulletproof coffee because it keeps me full and satisfied. So I need to drink this in order to get my fat in, and also it makes me not hungry. So it's good because I can skip breakfast if I drink this high fat coffee. I think you've tried that, right, Simon?
I've had it, but I've never felt like I needed it to stay full.
This is a myth out there. And the problem with the high fat coffee is, so people typically, if you're not familiar with this, I'm not endorsing it. Basically, I'm telling you should not do this, but basically it's coffee and they blend in butter, MCT oil, sometimes cream. And
why should you not do that?
Well, it froths up. It tastes delicious. I'll tell you that. But 1 cup of coffee then ends up being about 400 calories, or maybe even higher. Some people put a ton of fat in there. So that's 400 calories with 0 nutrients in it. No vitamins or minerals. So it's displacing foods that are going to give your body vitamins and minerals. And also, there aren't free calories, right? So that's another one of the myths, is that fat's a free food. So that's number 6. I got 6, I guess. That's a free food. You can eat as much as you want. It doesn't count. But this is also one of the biggest pitfalls I see people fall into, is why am I not losing weight? I'm drinking the high fat coffee. I'm eating fat bombs. I'm getting my fat up. Is that actually your body will store the excess fat. So fat calories count. Your body will store the extra ones that is above and beyond what your body will actually burn. So, so 400 calories is a lot of food, actually. So that's the equivalent of about 4 eggs. You can have an omelet with cheese on it and some veggies for 400 calories.
Well, hold on. What if you just put a little bit of butter or a little bit of coconut in your coffee? You're saying don't do that?
Well, if your goal is maximizing your fat loss on your body, then any fat you drink is going to slow down. Basically, you're trading this tastes good. I'll 1 less tablespoon of fat off my body.
What if your goal is just energy? Feel good.
Well, these recommendations are specific for people that want to be able to have fat loss as their goal, sustainable fat loss. And bulletproof coffee was marketed to people that aren't even following keto diet as a ways to boosting ketones on the brain. So something like bulletproof coffee, especially with MCT oil in it, would have an application for somebody that would be following an therapeutic keto diet, right? So somebody who isn't necessarily 100% following keto, or they do need to boost ketones when they're not able to burn their own body fat, then something like bulletproof coffee, MCT oil, and things like that would be helpful. Because it would help boost ketones above and beyond what your body could make from its own fat. So, but if your goal is fat loss, then it's a trade-off, right? You absolutely can have a lot of cream and butter and coconut oil in your coffee, but that's going to slow down your results if your goal is to get more fat burned off your body.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a choice people can make. People, maybe they want a little bit of that in their coffee, and then just they have to reconcile with the fact that that's going to make the results slower.
Okay.
But it's also one of the biggest pitfalls people fall into when I'm talking to people every day about why am I not losing weight on keto? Well, how much fat are you putting in your coffee?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Well, so we've covered the myths, but also so how much fat should we have? How do we know how much fat? We're not talking about eating a 0 fat diet.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know how I teach my clients to do it?
Tell me.
Tune in next week. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, that's what this episode is. I'll share. So I teach my clients to add fat in tablespoons because that's kind of the normal serving size of fat anyways. So choose fatty cuts of steak or eggs or cheese. Those are all naturally high in fat. So even if you didn't add any fat to any of your meals, just choosing those types of foods, you're already going to be at 60% fat of your calories anyways. So there's no need to actually add more. However, if you're just eating those foods, most people, they're still going to be pretty hungry. So I have people add some fat to their meals, anywhere from 0 to 3 tablespoons per meal. And those added fats can be things like butter, coconut oil, high-fat salad dressings like ranch or blue cheese or Caesar dressing. Those are going to be the highest fat ones, lowest carb. Adding, somewhere between 0 and 3 tablespoons per meal. I teach my clients how to intuitively eat, actually, so that they tune in to their appetite to be able to know how much fat to add without eating too much. So one of the clues is that whatever you eat for a meal, it should keep you full and satisfied and not thinking about food for somewhere between 4 to 6 hours. That's a sign that that meal had enough fat in it. So it's kind of like, if you get salad dressing at a restaurant, typically on the side, they're going to give you an ounce of dressing, which is 2 tablespoons. So, butter servings typically is about a tablespoon of fat, like a pat of butter, is about a tablespoon. So it ends up being how we kind of use those foods anyways. So it ends up being a convenient measurement amount for people to be able to add onto their foods.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Hooking it
So
up.
the phrase, I borrow this from Dr. Jeffrey Gerber, who's Denver's diet doctor. He uses the phrase, use fat to fill. And in this case, we're using it to fill up our appetite. It's not we don't need to overflow our appetite, right? So we're not stuffing fat in, we're just to fill.
Okay.
And then I remember hearing Nurse Cindy. So how many of you out there know Nurse Cindy? She has one where she says, fat to fill your appetite, your plate, but don't fill your glass with the fat, or we're going to use I haven't used any warnings here anyway. So anyways, you fill your glass. Don't fill, I screwed it up already. Don't fill your glass with fat or it's going to end up on your ass.
And don't fill your ass with fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
you're into that, but I don't think
people pay a lot of money for that service these days.
Yeah, I guess. That's not something you offer, is it? Okay.
The BBL, Brazilian butt lift.
What's that? Where you hire a Brazilian person to hold your butt up all day, or?
It's probably cheaper than the cosmetic surgery. So,
okay.
Yeah. Do you know there's a procedure? So they basically have the girls gain weight, and then they liposuction it out of the middle of their body, and they inject it in their buttocks.
Sounds healthy.
Get that Kardashian look right there for only $10,000. So
yeah, okay. Well, if you're making a sex tape, maybe I say go for it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
If you're an Instagram influencer, might be lucrative.
Yeah. Well, we'll look into that. We're going to talk about that next week. Now, what are we going to talk about next week? Not just liposuctioning our asses. What did you have to say?
Well, next week is going to be easy rule number 4 to follow to get started on keto for best results. It's going to be all about salt. Salt is also one of the biggest, I would say it's actually the biggest thing that's missed by, am I off on my numbers? No, that's right. Next week is number 4. So that's one of the biggest things that's missed. We talk about myths today, but the biggest thing that's missed on most people's keto diet is how much salt they need. And most people aren't even dosing enough. It is one of the biggest causes for complications on keto. So if you're suffering with constipation, muscle cramps, headaches, keto flu, fogginess, cravings, and on, there's so many more symptoms that come up if you're not getting enough salt. So one of the biggest problems that people have, like, oh, I tried keto, the side effects were horrible, I couldn't stick with it. Come back next week, listen to our next week episode, because it's going to be so salty good.
Right on. Well, I love it. And I guess if you enjoyed the episode, then please share it. Sharing is caring. We're out here helping people, making a difference. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So recap today, we talked all about, we talked about fat. We dispelled a lot of the myths that are out there and talked about a really easy way to add fat in so that you can be successful on your keto.
I feel like I lost a pound just on this episode alone.
All right. Yes. I love it. Wonderful. Hey, thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, share this episode. That's our call to action for this episode. Share it with a friend. Help us grow and get the word out about the easy way to do keto for best results.
You help us grow, we'll help you shrink.
That's so good. That's
like
our tagline.
Write that down. Somebody write that down?
The marketing department. Hello.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Thank you everyone for watching. Tune in next week. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.